What did you find out about your friend's sex life that actually shocked you? My best friend in college got in a pretty kinky sexual relationship with this dude for a while. They do BDSM type stuff, none of which is particularly shocking to me, but I remember visiting her apartment and seeing a spoon out randomly in her room and asked why it was there. She said she loved the taste of his cum so much he'd jerk off onto the spoon and feed it to her while she was tied up. I didn't think she'd ever really shock me, but that one took the cake. Wait until they find out you can come directly into a person's mouth. Doing it onto a spoon seems inconvenient. My best friend married his high school sweetheart. I knew they were both virgins when they got married. What I did not know, and only found out when they eventually got divorced, was that they only had sex about 20 times during their 10-year marriage. The wife evidently got zero enjoyment from sex, and only did it when she wanted to get pregnant. They had 3 kids. And all happened relatively easily, quickly. He was not allowed by her to masturbate or look at porn, although he did behind her back. This had nothing to do with religion or anything like that. Just how she personally viewed sex. My friend, who didn't really know any better, just assumed that's what marriage was supposed to be like. He's now remarried to an incredible woman who evidently loves sex and has been more than willing to make up for all the time my friend was in an essentially sexless relationship. I've never seen him so happy. When at an anime convention with a friend and his girlfriend, I found out his girlfriend shits when she orgasms. They have been together since HS, and every once in a while there would be an angry announcement to please not shit on the floor in the bathrooms. The pieces began to come together. I used to frequent Craigslist back before they banned anything even resembling a dating or hookup ad. I once placed an ad and got a response from a guy on my team at work asking if I wanted to f his wife. As in bluntly asking, "Hey buddy, you wanna f my wife?" Your email address is stripped off when using their built-in email system, but the name on your email account comes through. The response was in this guy's name, which is unique, and he included a picture of his wife, who I have met. The pic didn't show her face, but she has some visible tattoos, so there is zero doubt it was her. My sister-in-law told me what she apparently calls my brother in their private time, Big Daddy Roo-Roo. That they didn't have a sex life. We are all in our late 20s and they got married last year. Around 2 months after the wedding, I was joking about the lingerie set I bought her on her bachelorette trip and asked if she had worn it after the honeymoon. She looked at me straight and said no. I thought we were having a light-hearted conversation, friends for 9 years like we have always had, and was taken by surprise. She followed up with, "I'm married now, so I closed shop. He can have sex when I try for a baby. But once I have a kid, it's over." They just had their first child this month. It's going to be a long 50 years for her husband. My wife had a female friend in high school that saved all the used condoms in a brown paper bag under her bed. And from what I heard, there were a lot of them. Can't that shit mold or go rotten? EW. Anyone who's read the cum box story is well aware that yes it can. That they eat ass despite being a germaphobe. Ding. I have a galpal who is mega OCD, hyper clean and otherworldly germaphobic, and she is way into some balloon knot bingo. In the battle of kink v. bacteria, kink is the victor, always. My friend was US Army, Special Forces, Green Beret, and would go on regular shadow dates. He would find people online, mostly on Craigslist. This was in the 2012, and set up random anonymous sex liaisons with people he had never met, spoken with, or had even seen. He would show up to an unlocked apartment or house, in the dark without ever seeing or speaking, and bail. One day we were playing Xbox. He got an email, said don't unpause it. I gotta go real quick. He left, did the deed, and brought a six-pack back all within an hour. Sat down and kept playing. This happened a few different times and I think about it often. One of my former best friends and his fiancée had been together for nearly 5 years and due to be married in a few months when this happened. They were very open about their sex life, saying it was awesome and that they had their fun nearly every night. A few months before the wedding, she confided in me that they had actually never had sex before because he was scared. Apparently he had her act like they were having daily sex to make it seem like everything was normal. First couple years they tried and didn't get anywhere with sex. After that he just lost interest in her. Apparently the mental abuse in the relationship was pretty high too, which she completely hid from everyone to save his ass. This story is why this best friend is now a former best friend. My best friend uses blowjobs as bribery to an insane degree. I mean, I'm not above a little BJ bribery myself, but she uses it on her husband like several times a day. Wants coffee, but doesn't want to make it. BJ. Doesn't want to clean the dishes. BJ. It's her turn to walk the dogs. BJ. It's kind of hilarious. She's super lazy, but prefers giving him head to doing most chores, and apparently it works for him too. She also doesn't want sex as often as he does, so she finds this keeps him happy and she doesn't feel the need to put out as much. All of which I find hilarious. Does she know how much easier it is to just make coffee instead of giving a blowjob? On the bright side, she must have that shit down to a quick science by now. That she had elaborate pirate role play sex. We were housemates in college and I heard way more than I bargained for. Also the guy she had elaborate pirate role play sex with smelled bad and wore those shoes with the separate toes. In high school a classmate of mine was bragging one day about losing his virginity to a lady in our community who happened to be the mother to a girl a grade above us. We all called bullshit and asked why he'd make something like that up, cause not only is it not believable, it just wasn't even a funny lie. Fast forward 6 months and fellow classmate has to leave class on multiple occasions to go to court. Older lady was bragging to a co-worker about sleeping with said classmate, and now older lady is a sex offender. A couple that I was friends with was into necrophilia play. He would make his wife take an ice-cold shower, quickly dry off, and then she'd just lay there while he her cold unmoving body, and they really liked it. My friend only do anal because she's saving her virginity for her husband. She has about approximately 5 boyfriends up to this point. My best friend never masturbated until I told him the experiences of the luxury. Then he actually did it and he questioned his life. I mean, that's pretty mind-blowing if you've never done it. Friend of mine didn't do foreplay at all and just threw it in there. Started having issues because his girlfriend didn't enjoy it and said it was painful, but he was baffled as to why. Poor girl. One friend was all into gangbangs and orgies. Never took her as the type. Where the hell are all these gangbangs and orgies happening? Is there a subreddit I don't know about? That his girlfriend doesn't enjoy having sex with him, my best mate, unless she is really drunk. Never brought it up, but the implication is a bit rough. I don't mean this in any kind of rape way. It's all consensual and they are a happy couple. He was into swords and getting cut and stuff. It all started on the day of his circumcision. Always bragged about how much sex he had. Would never shut the hell up about it. One of those guys. Super annoying. Plus this dude was not smooth with girls in any way whatsoever. Would always just nod and play along. Always thought he was full of shit. Then I found out he raped every single one of them. She used to shit in her ex-husband. Kinda took me by surprise. In, or on? On, sorry. My best friend in high school came out of the closet to me. That wasn't really that shocking. What was shocking was finding out the jokes he made about my other best friend blowing him weren't actually jokes. That a friend has been married for 15 years and they've never actually had sex. Not one time. They've tried but not been successful. From the info I've gotten, I think he's not hard enough. He won't see a doctor. They're both virgins. It's all so sad. Friend wouldn't let me use his computer approximately 20 years ago. He said he had things on there that would change how I thought about him. I stowed the thought aside. 12 years or so later, married with a young daughter, they threw his ass in prison for having some insanely large amount of child porn on his computer. He was part of some huge child porn ring, evidently really young girls. Well, I just found out my girlfriend's a lesbian, so that's kinda with me. It sucks. We've been together for a long time, built a bit of a life together, been through thick and thin. She claims it's just a mistake. but she's emotionally and physically involved with another woman, and has been cheating on me as well as financially supporting the homewrecker with money we discussed saving for a wedding. I hope she finds what she's looking for, because it's not gonna be with me anymore. I've given all that I could. In spite of his wife being comfortable with having an open relationship, he proceeded to cheat on her multiple times before we all found out. Should clarify he refused to have an open relationship. One of my best friends, who I thought was asexual since any talk of sex caused her to get grossed out, ended up becoming my twin brother's girlfriend. Turns out she had just not met any guys that she felt comfortable with, and since we've been friends a couple of years she decided he'd be a good first. Then one night she drunkenly told me about how much sex they were having, and that was kinda weird for all parties since my brother was also there. But hey, I'm happy they're both getting laid. A friend of mine thinks of me while having sex so they can keep going for much longer. A former friend of mine used to wipe her husband's butt after he'd been to the bathroom. Initially she'd do his washing and he'd leave stains on his underwear for her. I'm not sure, and that progressed to some humiliation and her checking him when he got home from work every day. She told me this when we were outside having a cigarette, and I then had to sit across from them both for the longest game of Monopoly. I knew this guy, lived with a friend of mine. Then one day I saw him on the local news' version of To Catch a Predator. I think he got some time and might have been deported after that. That was quite a surprise.